All right, what's doing, everybody? Today is Thursday, July 24th. I got Congressman Troy Nehls joining me on the podcast. Tulsi Gabbard and Karoline Levitt put on an absolute clinic yesterday at the press briefing. Now the DOJ forms a Russiagate task force. We got the latest on Epstein and more. I'm AlecLace. This is the AlecLace Show.
The American family is under attack. Parents are the underdog of this nation. Your children are being indoctrinated. That's right. Your children. They do not belong to the state. They do not belong to the school system. They belong to you, the parents, as a blessing from God our Father. So let's preserve, protect, and fight for the American family together. You're listening to the AlecLace Show. The future is family.
All right, welcome everybody to the AlecLace Show. Happy and honored, as always, to be here with you guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching the broadcast as it streams live on Rumble, please get down there. Hit the share button. Let's get as many people into that chat room down there as possible. Share with your friends. If you missed out on Tuesday's episode, it was a great one. I had Senator Tommy Tuberville here. I had Mike Howell and Jim Paff. So if you missed those interviews, go flip it back and take a listen. Yesterday at the press briefing, now it's one of these guys, you guys know I have the hard pass for the White House. I can come and go as I please. I can go any day that I want. And it burns a hole in my pocket, believe me, because, I work, as many of you know, I work nights on the railroad. So in order for me to do this, I got to take the night off before, because otherwise I'm a zombie. I tried doing it where, I go right from work down to the press briefing, then come back. So I'm in Jersey. I take the train down. It's like a 3-hour train ride, hit the briefing, and then take the 3-hour train ride back and then go back to work. So I've done that, and I told myself I'll never do it again, because I was ready to, I can't put in them 24, 48-hour straight days anymore. And so I have to kind of pick and choose when I'm going to go. Last week, I decided to go down, took the trip to the press briefing. Unfortunately, didn't get a question in. So it came to when I got the guidance from the White House the other night. I said, "Oh man, maybe I'll go down." And I was debating, and I said, I'm going to skip it this week. I'll go next week to the press briefing. And so I'm sitting there yesterday watching the press briefing, and the door slides open. Karoline Levitt comes out. I see Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, come out with her, and I say, oh, my God, I missed out on a big one here. And it was a big one indeed, because Tulsi Gabbard, not only did she speak, she took a bunch of questions from the media. Would have been awesome to get in there to get a question from her. It's almost about a year ago to the day that I had Tulsi Gabbard on the podcast here. And she said, when I asked her at the time, there was no VP picked, and I had said, hey, if you're a VP or you get a role in the Trump administration, what can we expect to see from you? And she said right there, I'm looking to dismantle the deep state, and that's exactly what I'll do. And that is what she is doing right now. She is just living up to that word. And her and Karoline Levitt made a good team together. It's interesting because you always hear from the left that Trump never surrounds himself with strong women. And then there you have Tulsi Gabbard, who is the first ever female combat veteran to lead the intelligence department. And you have the youngest ever press secretary in Karoline Levitt. And the greatest thing about it is that neither one of them were hired because they're women. They were hired because of their merit. They were hired based on their ability to do it. And that was very much on display yesterday. Karoline Levitt, it's fun to watch her, especially when I'm there and live, just absolutely destroying the fake news media. And so a lot of this obviously was on the Russiagate, the Obamagate, and what we are uncovering, what we are learning about all this stuff. One of the things that was interesting was that the Russians had the info on Hillary Clinton, who was heavily relying on tranquilizers and other stuff, and didn't release it. And it's now we learned that she was on all these things, and we had that classic video of her looking like a Weekend at Bernie's going into the car in 2016, going into that van where they're like, she looks like she's a mannequin, and she collapses on the street. They put her in. A lot of people are like, oh, she's in handcuffs. That video went super viral back then. Kind of a turning point in a lot of things, because I was right at the top of the election. 2 months later was the election where she lost. So we learned, and the Russiagate, the entire thing is based on the fact that the mainstream media was the mouthpiece for the Democrats to get out the message that Donald Trump colluded with Russia in order to fixed the 2016 election. Operation Crossfire Hurricane was this entire thing where, we had this Steele dossier. The whole thing was framed to say that President Donald Trump was working with Putin in order to undermine the elections, the integrity of our elections. So one of the best clips from yesterday, and you got to keep your eye on Karoline Leavitt during this entire exchange with CNN activist Caitlin Collins. It's amazing that these people have actually, that they have press credentials and they're in the press. They're not media. They are totally activists. That's exactly what she is. But I want you to take a look at this exchange. It's a beauty. And there's 2 points that Caitlin Collins tries to make, and she gets taken down on both. Take a listen.
Caitlin.
Thank you, Caroline. 2 questions for Director Gabbard. Just on this, Director Gabbard, you referenced the past intelligence reports and assessments on this, including that 2017 one that was signed off, as Ed noted, by every Republican on the Senate Intelligence Community, including the acting chair of the time, now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who said in a statement that they did not find any evidence of Russian collusion, but they did find, however, is very troubling, and they found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling. One, are you saying that he's wrong in that statement that he made then? And secondly, what would you say to people who believe that you're only releasing these documents now to improve your standing with the president after he said that your intelligence assessments were wrong?
Well, first, I want to correct something that you stated, which was citing the Senate Intelligence Committee's report as being one and the same. I think you said the intelligence community. The Senate Intelligence Committee has a very different function than the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The evidence and the intelligence that has been declassified and released is irrefutable. I'm going to let Karoline speak to Secretary Rubio.
I'll speak to both questions. First, on Secretary Rubio, he put out a statement in 2020 following that Senate Intelligence Committee report, and he said what they found is troubling. We found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling, which the Director of National Intelligence just confirmed for all of you, that Russia was trying to sow distrust and chaos. But what's the outrage in this that Secretary Rubio did not say at the time, the Democrats were saying at the time, is the fact that the intelligence community was concocting this narrative that the president colluded with the Russians, that the president's son was holding secret meetings with the Russians. All of these lies that were never true. And he also said at that time, we discovered deeply troubling actions taken by the FBI under Comey, particularly their acceptance and willingness to rely on the Steele dossier without verifying its methodology or sourcing. The Steele dossier that many outlets in this room ran as the gospel truth, and it was cooked up and paid for by the Clinton campaign. As for your second question, Caitlin, I think who is saying that she would release this to try to boost her standing with the president? Who has said that?
Well, the president has publicly undermined her when it came to Iran. He said she was wrong. He told me that she didn't know what she was talking about. That was on Air Force One on camera.
The only people who are suggesting that the Director of National Intelligence would release evidence to try to boost her standing with the president are the people in this room who constantly try to sow distrust and chaos amongst the president's cabinet, and it is not working. I will just answer your question directly. I am with the President of the United States every day. He has the utmost confidence in Director Gabbard. He always has. He continues to, and that is true of his entire cabinet, who is all working as one team to deliver on the promises this president made.
As I said, if you watched Karoline there, she couldn't wait to jump in on that, especially for the part where she's like, oh, Tulsi, are you just releasing this information just to get in good favor, good standing with Trump? Like, what a stupid question that is. Like, that's insulting to say something like that. Oh, yeah, she's only doing this just so that Trump will like her more. She's doing her job. She's the Director of National Intelligence. I mean, but they try to put it in there, and by suggesting it, gives it credibility, and they know what they're doing when they do that. And of course, the first part of that is, they said that the Russian meddling and all that. It's not about Russian meddling. It has nothing to do. Yes, does Russia want to undermine our election integrity? Of course they do. They're our enemy. The question here is that, did President Donald Trump knowingly collaborate with the Democrats, with the Russians in order to do this? That was at the heart of this whole thing. Not did Russia independently come in and meddle. And now the evidence shows that they were expecting Hillary Clinton to win. And that's exactly what they believe. Now, I want to flash back. Take that clip in mind. Now, remember, All these people knew. That's what this declassified information is telling us, is that all of these people that were involved, the five main people that were involved in this Russiagate, knew that the James Clapper, James Comey, Obama, obviously, they all knew that the Steele dossier was nonsense. They knew that Trump didn't have anything to do with communicating with Russia whatsoever. So watch this clip from 2018 with the FBI Director James Comey. Now, this is with George Slopadopoulos. Caitlin Collins is reporting on it from CNN. And keep in mind as you watch the clip that we now know, which we've known for a long time, but now we have the declassified information to show you the proof that at the time of this interview with Slopadopoulos, James Comey knew damn well that Trump had nothing to do with Russian collusion. He knew it at the time of this interview. Take a listen.
A sense of what James Comey said. Here's a clip of what his answer was when he was asked if he thought the Russians have anything on President Trump.
Do you think the Russians have something on Donald Trump?
I think it's possible. I don't know. These are more words I never thought I'd utter about a president of the United States, but it's possible.
That's stunning. You can't say for certain that the President of the United States is not compromised by the Russians.
Yeah, it is stunning, and I wish I wasn't saying it, but it's the truth.
Now, James Comey was also asked if he believes the president has obstructed justice or if he's going to fire the special counsel Robert Mueller, and his answer to that was also very interesting.
Was President Trump obstructing justice?
Possibly. I mean, it's certainly some evidence of obstruction of justice.
What will it mean if President Trump tries to fire Robert Mueller?
It would, I hope, set off alarm bells that this is his most serious attack yet on the rule of law.
Now, the president has only commented on this a little on Twitter this morning, accusing James Comey of crimes. But while he's doing that, the White House, his officials, Kellyanne Conway, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and the Republican National Committee are working overtime to undermine James Comey's credibility.
And you can see the actor that James Comey is right there. Oh, gosh, I hope not. I can't answer that. Like, he knows. He's giving those and Slopadopoulos there, he's just like setting them up. Like the whole thing is coordinated, just like we now seen with the 60 Minutes piece where they edited the thing with Kamala Harris. You think that's the first time that CBS or one of these fake news organizations worked together with somebody to put together a hit piece like that? You don't think they're talking behind the scenes? Oh, let's run it again. Let's try it like this. It's like a reality show. You think it's real. It's not real. James Comey knew at that moment that Trump had nothing to do at all with the Russia collusion nonsense. But he's leading the American people to think, oh, my God, I can't believe this. What is he saying here? Oh, Trump is guilty. And they played that up. And we heard it for years. We heard it. He's Putin's puppet. Trump's a Russian asset. And I'm telling you, I was there in that press briefing room during Trump's first term, and you could hear the press. Back then, there was no podcasters here. I was like a fish out of water there, and you could hear all of these correspondents cackling, right, like little kids. Oh my God, Trump and the Russia thing. They were all talking about it. The two guys, everyone was going, oh, I'm going to write a book. Oh, Russia, collusion. Oh, everyone was, all these journalists. They pointed out yesterday, Tulsi Gabbard, that two of these humps got Pulitzer Prize winners for writing about total nonsense, no journalism whatsoever. They had the biggest story in their hands, the biggest political scandal in their hands, and they let it slide through. Because they didn't want anything to do with it. They were looking to try to find truth in the Russia collusion where there was none. Oh, what if he fires Robert Mueller? Oh, boy, I hope not. Oh, geez, that's going to be bad. You listen to James Comey, the bullshit artist. And he still is to this day. Oh, the seashell collector. Oh, look, I just happened to find these seashells. That's 8647. Look at that. And he's writing novels now because he's a fictional storyteller. That's what James Comey is. Now, the DOJ forms this Russiagate strike force. We hear this today. Task force, strike force to investigate this declassified Obama evidence. Pam Bondi says we're going to leave no stone unturned. Now, here we go. Pam Bondi has an opportunity here to redeem herself. She has the opportunity here to make good One thing we're going to need is results and accountability here. If this is the whole thing amounts to nothing, then what is it all for? We have got to get some kind of results here. The evidence is obviously there. And they did this on purpose to undermine President Donald Trump's first term. And everybody was in on it. Now, and President, and you know, some of the people in that press briefing yesterday asking too, like, oh, Trump was already president for 4 years. Why didn't he do this first term? Look at all the people that were in Trump's administration that were there to undermine him, who came out after his administration writing best-selling books, throwing this guy under the bus. They were never, and again, like I said, it wasn't like these were people that were Trump supporters that went into his administration the first time and then all of a sudden found out they didn't like him and turned on him. These were people that were wolves in sheep's clothing in his first term that went in there hating his guts. They went in there with the thought in mind to undermine him. That's what they did. They didn't get in there and to be like, "Hey, I voted for Trump. I like Trump," and get in there and say, "Oh, now I don't like Trump, and I'm gonna undermine him." That's not what happened. They went in there with the intent to undermine that man. And he, obviously coming from the business world, never held a political office in his life, was way, way under the gun when he was in there the first term. Way outnumbered by all these political bureaucrats that have been in there for a lifetime. So we're going to need to see the accountability, and it's got to come quick. And there's going to be a pushback. There's going to be, there's going to be melting down. There's no way in the world that if you give us a mugshot of Obama, that the left reacts the same way that we reacted when we got the mugshot of Trump. Zero chance. Trump got shot, no riots. Trump got mugshotted, no riots. The FBI invaded his house, no riots. Like, you didn't see any of that. You're going to see it if and when we get results for this. There's no question about it. And that fear is what they will use as an excuse to not do anything. And that's what you fear. You fear that they're going to use that excuse of, if we do this, the country, there's going to be riots, there's going to be unrest, there's going to be civil unrest. That's exactly the reason why that Derek Chauvin is in prison today, is because they feared the riot. It's exactly why O.J. Simpson got off. One of the biggest factors in that case, that they just recently had the L.A. riots. They knew if they found this guy guilty, it was going to be that all over again. Same thing with the Derek Chauvin. If they found that guy not guilty, riots would have been everywhere. And now here, if they put the handcuffs, I mean, come on, look at all the people that are, it's the usual suspects here that are involved in this stuff, man. And it's... And they're guilty. And President Donald Trump has known it for years. He's put it out there. They wiretapped his Trump Tower. They spied on his campaign. They got caught, and he knew it. But you have the media working together with the Democrats in order to try to undermine and destroy President Donald Trump because he is in the swamp. He is there surrounded by the deep state. And this time now, we're 6 months in, and he is ready to take him down. It looks this way. It looks like all signs are pointing in the right direction here. Got to close the deal. Got to get it done. We're going to talk more about this now with Congressman Troy Nehls. He is a congressman from Texas. It's been a long time since I had him on the podcast. I had him on way back here on the AlecLace show, but I'm glad to get him today. I want to play this piece. Now, the whole thing is like about a 5-6 minute clip, so I don't want to play the whole thing. I want to play the end, just so you could hear the ridiculousness about what was involved and the accusations against Trump. This clip is from 2023, I believe. This is when John Durham was being interrogated there, questioned before the House committee. So this is Troy Nehls, and listen to this piece and how disturbing this is, this part of it, and how far out left field this whole thing went. Take a listen.
Finally, I want to talk about Charles Dolan and Mr. Danchenko, who was the main source of the Steele dossier. Dolan had played multiple roles in the Democrat National Committee, Democrat Party. He worked on both Clinton campaigns, Bill and Hillary. He was working with them, friends. On page 15 of your report, it says that in the summer and fall of 2016, Dolan and Danchenko traveled to Moscow in connection with a business conference. The business conference was held at the Ritz-Carlton in Moscow, which, according to the Steele reports, was allegedly the site of salacious sexual conduct on the part of Trump. Parents, if you're watching, earmuffs for your kids now, folks. Put earmuffs for your children. Mr. Durham, was this salacious sexual conduct? What is that?
The allegation was that...
Okay, don't answer it. I will.
Okay.
Think about this, America. In the game of politics, it gets dirty and nasty. And the people will say anything to beat their opponent. But this is the government doing it. Even the director of the FBI, Comey, said it's possible Trump was with hookers peeing on each other. Christopher Steele said an infamous Trump pee tape probably exists. Alleged pee tape incident was the only sex Trump party in Russia. You want to irritate the suburban mom at home? 5 months before an election, tell them the Republican leading candidate is peeing on prostitutes. We are aware of the member of this committee having an alleged affair with a Chinese spy, I refer to as Yum Yum. But this is a new low for anyone, and I would hope Mr. Swalwell would agree with me. Imagine if somebody would have said and taken it this step further, Mr. Swalwell was peeing on Yum Yum.
Time in the gentleman.
It's unacceptable. This has got to stop. The FBI needs to...
All right, imagine this. Imagine this is what they're leading the people to believe is true. Trump's over in Russia peeing on prostitutes and stuff like this. Like, it's insulting how crazy this whole thing got, way out of hand. But Troy Nehls did a great job in there of exposing these guys for what they are, which was frauds. Let's bring them on the podcast. I want to get into that. There's a few other things we got to hit on. I know that they're going to be doing the investigation into Act Blue. He's on the Judiciary Committee. He's also on the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, so I got a question or two about that. Let's bring him on.
Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm at the White House with my dad, and you're watching The AlecLace Show.
You're listening to The AlecLace Show. The future is family.
All right, joining me now, Congressman Troy Nehls. Welcome back to the AlecLace Show.
Yeah, it's good to be with you. Thank you, Alec. You're doing a hell of a job.
Well, it's an honor to get you on here. Obviously, the breaking story here is about this Russiagate, Obamagate. Tulsi Gabbard just dropped, another bombshell of files showing how the Democrats, led by Barack Obama, politicized, weaponized this intelligence to create this Russia hoax. Just before you came on, I played the piece with you going at it with John Durham and the rest. So break it down for me. What do you got on this? Give me your take.
Well, everything, you look at the 2016 campaign and everybody said that number one, we know there was election interference by Hillary Clinton. And when you look at the allegations and the things that were said about our Republican nominee, Donald Trump, as it related to Russia, they started this investigation, Crossfire Hurricane, right? You remember that? It was 6 months before the election, and they released that report. There were individuals in there, a guy named Christopher Steele, who was a British agent. He was working with Hillary Clinton with Fusion GPS. So these guys are all coming together. Hillary Clinton is right in the middle of it. And then you get the FBI Deputy Director, Andrew McCabe, working with another crook. His name is Peter Strzok, conspiring to go after Trump and his team. You look at there's another guy named Carter Page. You want to talk about an American hero. He was working with Trump in 2016, one of his advisors, and all of a sudden now Carter Page is the target. He's the target of Hillary Clinton and the FBI, and they were using FISA and FISA warrants. Now, FISA is Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. They had FISA warrants on Carter Page. They were obviously eavesdropping on him, wiretapping him, made it look like he was some type of a Russian agent. I mean, this is all horrible. And then you've got other individuals involved in this thing. They claim, now think about this, they claim that Donald Trump was in Moscow at the Ritz-Carlton urinating on hookers. Now think about that. James Comey, he was the FBI director. There's an article out there that says he believes that there could be something to this, that there could be something to that story. This is a few months before the general election. Can you imagine the mother at home, the wife, the mother at home, thinking the leader of the Republican Party, their nominee, is doing these types of things in Russia? Sad. I think there should be criminal prosecutions. They're all dirty rats, are what they are. And we're going to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, there's no question about it. It seems like, and it's interesting too, you have Tulsi Gabbard now, Director of National Intelligence, pulling us. Where at the time, Tulsi was actually a candidate, to be a Democratic candidate to be president, and she actually got more votes than Kamala did during that whole primary thing. But now she's turning around and exposing what was actually going on behind the scenes of the 2016 election, which is wild to see. And I think here's the thing, Congressman, we know they're guilty. I mean, there's no question about it. Trump has known it in his heart ever since the beginning of this, when he tweeted it out. They spied on my campaign. We caught them, the whole thing. Do we see the accountability? That's the key piece here. Do you think we actually get some accountability here?
Well, I think we should have. If you look at what the Judiciary Committee has done under leadership of Jim Jordan and what oversight has done under James Comer for the last several years, under obviously a president that really didn't know what the hell was going on, who was in charge in the White House under Joe Biden, we brought in many of these characters. We had Comey, FBI Director Comey, in front of our committee, and you could see where I was questioning him and others. And we had Durham. Durham obviously took that Steele dossier and said, it's all fabricated. There's nothing to it. It's nothing but lies and innuendo. So we did a good job. The problem is we didn't have the DOJ. You think Merrick Garland was going to do anything to Hillary Clinton or look into Russia? They were all in bed together. Now we have a DOJ. We have I believe, very good, solid, probable cause to show that these individuals were conspiring with each other and interfered with the 2016 election through this Russia hoax. It was all a hoax. The American people need to hear it. We haven't talked about it in a while, but now they're going to hear it, and they're going to hear it again, and people must be held accountable.
And the media is not clean in this either, Congressman, because they were a big part of this too. They were the ones that ran with this and promoted this. Where was the investigative journalism? Where was the real journalist that is supposed to be in there giving us the scoops? All they did was they were just a pet to the Democrat Party. And I remember, because at this time, even when Mueller was testifying on Congress there, I had press access to the White House during Trump's first administration. I have it now, and now it's like, there's a lot of podcasters there, everybody. But at that time, I was like the only podcaster that was there, and I listened in that White House to all these different media people, the way that they trashed President Donald Trump, the way they talked about the Russia thing with a glisten in their eye. It's like they were foaming at the mouth over this stuff. They ate it all up with a spoon. We got no honest journalism at all during the time when it actually mattered, and someone could have been a journalistic hero at the time.
And Obama's tied into this. We'll get to the bottom of it. I think Tulsi Gabbard's doing a good job, but Obama's tied into this with what was released, what wasn't released. He's going to do some finger pointing. He's going to say, I didn't do any of this stuff. This isn't me. But I am telling you, I think we have to continue. Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's smoke, there's fire. I think we did a great job in our respective committees with oversight and judiciary. But now we got to take that information, take it all, send it to the DOJ, and let's start obviously indicting some individuals. We got to start indicting some of these individuals because it costs. That was a rigged election. Hillary Clinton, I mean, give me a break. Joe Biden, all of them. It was a rigged election. It was a rigged election. We got to do better than that. The American people got to feel safe and secure, knowing that their vote matters. Their vote matters. Yes, Donald Trump won the election, obviously, but what Hillary Clinton tried to do is create this story that the Republican nominee, Donald Trump, was urinating on hookers in Russia 6 months before the election. A guy named Danchenko, Charles Dolan, all these names need to be brought back up. And Dolan was a DNC operative. He worked with Hillary campaign. He was all tied in with Hillary and Obama. And he's over there in Russia meeting with this guy named Danchenko, who is really an agent. And they're all talking about Donald Trump over in this hotel. I mean, that is absolutely disgusting. I know elections can be nasty. And you got to be an adult, obviously. It's a very difficult sport. It's a blood sport. But this went way too far. And I think it went criminal.
Yeah, it was a setup there. We saw it again in 2020 with the fake, the Russia laptop. They manufactured that story. More election interference, which seems to be, the MO for the Democrat Party. But let me ask you this, because I would imagine, hey, Democrats ran on arresting Trump. They did it. They got in there. The minute they got in there, they started all that nonsense. We saw people go to prison. We saw people indicted. They moved the ball fast. And that's what I think where we need to catch up. But here's the thing. What do you think is the reaction? Should we start indicting somebody like, say, Obama for crimes related to this? What do you think is going to be the reaction from the left if that happens?
Well, I think we need to take it to a federal grand jury. We need to take it to a grand jury and see some indictments come out. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a former president. By the way, the Democrat Party had no problem having felony indictments against Donald Trump all over the damn country. Whether it's the Mar-a-Lago raid, whether it's up in New York, everybody, they loved it. They were talking about Donald Trump's going to go to prison for 1,000 years with the numerous felony indictments. It was all just, it's an absolute joke. But it is sad in politics today that they can take a former president like that and just put him under felony indictment over and over and over again. So no, Hillary Clinton, Barack Hussein Obama, you're not out of this mess. We should, if the evidence is there, take it to a grand jury and indict them all. Indict them all. If the evidence.
I think that's where the evidence is going to lead them, and it's not the same. And this difference is here too is where Trump, it was made up charges, like they charged him in New York for some law that never existed. Nobody ever got charged for it before. They found these little, and they ran on that. Like Letitia James said openly, "Hey, I'm running and I'm going after President Trump," and she did, and that was the whole purpose of her entire campaign and her job. And now.
Going to do it. She said she was going to do it. Now she's going to go after Donald Trump. She's a real beauty, isn't she?
Yeah.
James, what a beauty.
Yeah, all of them are. We saw the same thing down in Georgia with the other lunatic there, with the boyfriend. They made a mockery out of the whole system just going after Trump. But here's the thing, too. It's like I feel like the Democrats don't care because they feel like it's justified. The left-wing lunatics feel like whatever they have to do to get Trump is justified, even if that means breaking the Constitution, even if that means breaking the law. It's all justified, you see, because Trump, we have to save democracy. Trump's a Nazi. He's a fascist. We have to do it. And so that's kind of the way that they play. Like, even if they get caught, even if they're guilty, they're going to justify it by saying, well, we had to save democracy.
Yeah, I think the gloves got to come off on this. I think the gloves, yes, it was 2016. It was 8 years ago. Donald Trump did win that election. They stole it in 2020, but the American people brought him back. They brought him back with his great performance when he was president for the 4 years. They brought him back here just last year. So we've got him back, but I don't think we should just ignore what took place in 2016 or 2020. They stole that election in 2020. Hillary's laptop, the corrupt son, the whole corrupt Biden family. Where are the indictments there? And then you get the crackhead, on TV the other day interviewing, talking about immigration, illegal immigrants and all this and all that. I tell you, that family's disturbed. I can't imagine what their counseling bills are. They need a lot of counseling, that entire family.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Yeah, he was F-bomb after F-bomb. They all got their auto pen pardons, and now they feel like they can, talk all the stuff they want. But let me switch gears here, too, because I know you're with the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. And I think Sean Duffy, is crushing it over there with the DOT. But we've seen this report from the New York Post that the DOT under Pete Buttigieg spent $80 billion, which was like half the entire budget for a year, on DEI grants. And delayed these air traffic control jobs getting filled, these air traffic control upgrades. And now we're finding more out about that. What's the latest you got on that? What's your take?
Yeah, Mayor Pete, he's a strange bird, obviously. $80 billion is a big, big number. But he was all about the DEI. I mean, just look at the guy. He's a little strange. So you got a guy like that, and that was his policy. We shut that down. Under President Trump and Sean Duffy. Sean Duffy's doing a great job as Secretary of DOT. We are now saying, what are we going to do? We got to modernize the ATC, the air traffic control. We got to modernize it. And I think Congress has done their job. We put $12.5 billion into this modernizing the air traffic control system. We did that in reconciliation. And so I think the future is bright as it relates to our aviation industry. We say we are the gold standard. I know a little bit about aviation. I'm the chairman over the subcommittee. So we are working very closely with the stakeholders, with this administration, President Trump, as well as Secretary Duffy, to make sure that we get this right. President Trump made it very clear with air traffic controllers, stressful job, hard workers. They're very hardworking job, but we want the best and the brightest too. We want the best and brightest inside those towers, right? to make sure that people can fly to and fro safely, we have to do it. Not only in the air traffic control towers, but how about the birds that are flying around? In these cockpits, we need to put the best and the brightest up front too. And this DEI stuff is gone. So Sean Duffy, he did it right away. He said, no more DEI. We want the best and the brightest. That's what the American people want, the best and the brightest.
And they try to make it sound like when you say DEI, you're being racist. It's just about hiring the best person for the job. And I don't understand. And I think the average American gets that, especially if you're sitting in a plane and you ask them, "Hey, do you hope your pilot is the best pilot in the class, or you hope he got the job because he's a woman or he's black or he's gay?" And I think every single person on the plane, everyone wants the best pilot.
Alec, if you were having a stent put in your heart, maybe one day you will, you'll get older a little bit, you're going to want to have the best surgeon up there. And if the best surgeon is pink with polka dots, well, put the guy up there with the pink and the polka dots to put your stent in. We just don't want to make it say that we're going to put the guy with the pink polka dots in there, but he's at the bottom of the class, because we want to be more inclusive. I want the best and the brightest, whether he's going to put in your stent or whether he's flying an airplane or whether he's controlling the national airspace in an air traffic control tower. That's what you would want. People that want to work hard and be the best they can be, give them an opportunity to lead. That's what we're doing. We're not, this DEI is gone. It's bye-bye. It's not in our military anymore. It's just not happening. Get it out of the federal government, and we are doing so.
Yeah, and with the Department of Transportation, it's like the money is there to make these things better. My full-time job is on the railroad. I'm a railroad mechanic. I've been doing that for 25 years now. And it's like, I've seen it. All of our stuff, so much, it's outdated. Like so many of these things, they're old systems that we're using. When we get new equipment, new stuff, it's like 5 years out of date by the time we get it past all the red tape and everything. It's like the money is there for it. And to spend it on stuff like DEI and all this other nonsense, it's like we need to upgrade so many of these things in the transportation system, modernize it so we can keep up with the pace of the rest of the world, modern world seems to be doing.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it every day up here. I have a meeting this afternoon. I'm meeting with all the telecom people as it relates to getting the copper out of the ground and putting fiber in. So I tell you, Congress is doing its job. These committees, transportation and infrastructure under Sam Graves, the full committee chair, obviously I have the chair over aviation. We're working really hard up here with this administration to make sure if we're going to modernize ATC or the national airspace in 3 to 4 years, we got to get to work. We got to get to work. Now is the time. Let's be deliberate, but let's be methodical too. The federal government's response to most things are just throw money at it. Well, we're throwing some money at this, but we got to get it right. We got to get it right. We're going to do it right this time.
Yeah, well said. Let me switch to another committee that you're in there, the Judiciary Committee. You guys just subpoenaed the CEO of Act Blue. Now, there's another shady character, a whole shady organization. You got the documents there. There's that's a fundraising powerhouse for the Democrats. What's going on there? They were accepting fundraisers from foreign sources. What's the story? Why were the subpoenas going on? What do we see there?
The idea that you got individuals, and if you could have foreign groups interfering, again, election interference, foreign groups donating money to our election process, that is a problem. That's a big problem. The Republican side has this thing called WinRed. I mean, that's kind of our fundraising. People go on WinRed and donate, and they take. I
get the emails.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Send $20. He needs it. Listen, so you got that, and then you got Act Blue on the other side. But it just seems like the Democrat Party, they don't want to play by the rules. They just don't want to play by the rules. They're always violating the rules, and they're violating laws as a result. So I believe this is a good thing again. Again, oversight, James Comer, we're looking into that again with judiciary, because I'm thinking to myself, what makes them think that they can just play to a different set of rules? They always want to play to a different set of rules. And if the rules aren't in their favor, they'll change the rule. They'll change the rule. Well, I'm telling you, there needs to be accountability. There needs to be accountability. So Act Blue, we're looking into you, buddy. Don't think that we're just going to let you just walk away without any consequences. You violated our laws. You violated our laws. You are going to be held accountable. That's what we are in the Republican Party. We are all about law and order in this country. That's what we want, whether it's at our southern border or whether it's in our streets in these large cities. We want law and orders. We don't like thugs. We don't want people pulled in front, pushed in front of trains in New York. We want to stop it all. We protect the blue. We are all about protecting the men and women that are serving in our law enforcement and our border patrol agents. So we are the party of law and order. my friend. That's what we are.
And it's so disheartening to see that the way that they turned everybody against our the CBP officers, the ICE agents, and it seems like now they've got a huge target on their back thanks to these Democrat nut jobs that go visit these ICE facilities, go to visit these prisons and stuff like this, and are like begging for these illegal criminals to get released. They put a major target on these guys' back, and they have a hard enough job. It is. I can't imagine being a family guy, a family man, and or a woman, and being in one of those positions. Saying, what the hell am I doing here? I'm doing my job. Everyone's throwing stuff at me. It's like it's gotten so. I feel so terrible for these guys, men and women, that are doing that job right now.
Yeah, why would you want to do it? I was in law enforcement for 30 years as a big sheriff of a big county, and I don't know if I'd start all over again. I know my kids, and even my twin brother who worked in law enforcement for 30 years, his kids aren't getting into it either. It's not only just law enforcement, it's educators. I mean, why would you want to be a teacher today with all the criticism or ridicule they receive in our public schools? So I just think that, we as America, the American people better wake up. We're better than this. We really, really are. The American people want to feel safe and secure. You want to be able to walk out your front door and go down the sidewalk to the pocket park and not worry about somebody trying to sell me some fentanyl or getting kidnapped or assaulted by some illegal immigrant, some alien. So I think the American people have really woken up to a lot of this. They're doing better. Obviously, the election proved that the American people want to feel safe again, and they felt they would feel safe again under Donald Trump, and he's demonstrating that with our southern border. Obviously, ICE is removing many, many people, but it's a very difficult job today because the Democrat Party, they're not the party they want to fight. They actually want violence. They're almost encouraging violence. They are not the party of peace that they proclaim to be, and we have enough of them on record that talks about going after ICE agents and not complying. Go after those people too. We got to go after them as well. They're not immune for prosecution.
Yeah, no question about it. I'd love to see it. I mean, that's what we want to see is this accountability and stuff. But you talked about and I'll close it out with this, that you talked about the border. Obviously, I would consider it to be Trump's biggest accomplishment here, the way that he came in and just shut the border down completely. Now that he's got the one big, beautiful bill, hopefully we see these mass deportations ramp up. What's your take on the first 6 months here as far as other wins? The inflation down, more jobs. What's your take on the president's first 6 months here?
Oh, I think it's beautiful. Promises made, promises kept. He talked about this. That's why 80 million people voted for him. That's why he won every swing state. Everybody loves Donald Trump because if he tells you he's going to do something, he's going to do it. We got the one big, beautiful bill passed. I think overall it was a good bill. I didn't agree with everything, but that one big, beautiful bill is now giving us one big, beautiful border that is secure. The numbers, the crossings are down significantly. The Border Patrol, custom agents, they're all we're hiring thousands of them, adding 700 more miles of wall. So I think it's just a beautiful thing. And the American people are rewarding this administration. And we're going to keep the House. We're going to keep the House because they see all the great things that are taking place. So whether it's obviously energy independence, you look at what we did in that one big, beautiful bill, too. All of these executive actions that Donald Trump has, these executive orders, 28 of them, 28 were codified in this one big, beautiful bill. A lot of it related to the border, and a lot of it dealing with energy and deregulation, all this Green New Deal stuff. I mean, it's all crazy. We brought back $9 billion in rescissions. So I think we're doing a good job. Rescissions, reconciliation, all under Donald Trump's leadership. So I think the future is bright. We're leaning forward in the saddle. We're going to keep America and its people first, and we will be rewarded as a result.
Yeah, well said. You think we get another? I don't think Trump is pushing for another rescission package now right away, right? I mean, let's go back into cut more of this stuff. We saw NPR, PBS get defunded. They were crying a little bit, but now the funding is gone. It's a waste of taxpayer money, finally saving. But now we see, are we moving forward now with another rescission package? Is that the plan? What's next?
Well, I think you could. Obviously, Doges continue to do their job, but it's $9 billion. I mean, sadly, $1 billion 15 years ago was a lot of money. Now we're in the trillions of dollars. So $9 billion is really a small little, but it is still $9 billion. The point is that obviously the president wanted us to go back and we look and we clawed back $9 billion. The Senate, we had about 9.4, and the Senate said we need to keep some of the AIDS funding, whatever. So we brought back $9 billion. We got it done. And it is $9 billion. So we need to be good stewards of the fund. The American taxpayer, they're going to hold us accountable as well. And I think we're doing a good job trying to shrink this big bloated peg we have up here called the Washington bureaucracy. This is a big bloated peg, and we're going to gut the peg, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, there's so much to do, and if we didn't get this opportunity with President Donald Trump, we would have lost it all. We would have been no coming back from what would have happened had Kamala got the hands on the presidency. So we're grateful that President Donald Trump got it. We're grateful for the work that you guys are doing in Congress. I hope you guys enjoy the August recess there. We'll see you back. I'd love to have you back on when you guys return. And thanks for giving me a few minutes of your time today on the AlecLace Show.
Thank you, Alex. God bless you.
All right, grateful to have Congressman Troy Nehls on the podcast. What you guys think about the interview? Hit me with a comment down below. Grateful to get him on. I know these guys are getting all ready to go into this August recess here. A lot of people, is it their fault this is the way this thing is set up? I don't think so. That's the way this thing has always been set up. I know Trump has asked the Senate to not take the recess because they got to confirm so many of his nominations. He wants them to stay and get the work done. I had Tommy Tuberville, Senator, Alabama Senator, here Tuesday. He said more than willing to stay and get this thing done. So, listen, they're about to hit this recess. We need to see more get done. There's no doubt about that because the window of opportunity is closing. I forgot to mention that too to him there that Mark Green now resigned, lessening the lead in the House by 1. I think it's 219 to 212 now. So the time on the clock is running out there before the midterms to get things done. We would like to see another rescissions package. We would like to see more things get done. We know we got to get these nominees through from the Senate. So anyway, there's a lot of work to be done, and it's like nobody can keep up with the pace that President Donald Trump moves. And it's funny, too, like that's another one of these things where, like, they talk about Trump's, his ankles were swollen, and they had the doctor report come out and stuff like that. We go through this all the time, but it's like these same investigative journalists were looking at a corpse for 4 years and never even had an issue. They never batted an eye or investigated what was going on with Joe Biden as his mental health was on display. His mental illness was on display before the world. He was the laughing stock of the world, the guy, because he was so mentally shot. But all these investigative journalists, Pulitzer Prize winners, were just blind. I can't see anything wrong with what's going on with Biden. Talk about a collusion between the fake news media and the Democrats. And that's what it's become. The media has become just an extended arm of the Democrat Party. It's their mouthpiece. It's their target. Look at how crazy that the Democrats got over Steve Colbert getting fired. They're blaming Trump for it. They're like, you had that girl on, that lunatic on The View, Sonny Houston. Oh my God! They threw up the Constitution. They burned the Constitution because they fired Stephen Colbert from CBS. The guy was losing $50 million a year, and he's not funny, and no one's watching. But it's Trump's fault. And every one of these late night shows has turned into that. Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, all they are Democrat talking heads. That's it. They're like a propaganda wing for the Democrat Party. That's what they've been. Now, this may have been the case always, but we just weren't able to see it. I don't remember any of that. Like, late night TV growing up was obviously different. Johnny Carson, he was a liberal, a Democrat. It never came across that way. He wasn't like he had derangement syndrome or Reagan derangement syndrome or something like that. You had Jay Leno, you had Conan O'Brien, you had David Letterman. Like, I don't remember this. Like, I don't remember them foaming at the mouth over the politics. Like, of course, they were, no matter who was president, they went after the president and made jokes and fun. And it seemed like it was more like in fun. Now it's vicious. It's vicious. So, Stephen Colbert, the guy, he's another one of these guys that's just a total, you may as well just put a Democrat person there hosting that show. And it's not funny. They've destroyed comedy because of all the political correctness. So those shows are dying because they're not good. And the next one's going to be Fallon or Kimmel. They're not sustainable. It's almost like the WNBA. No one's watching. These girls are coming out with the shirts. Pay us what you owe us. What do we owe you? No one's watching your product. If the product doesn't sell, how do you invest more money into it? And the only thing that's selling the WNBA is Caitlin Clark. And they hate her for it. If it wasn't for Caitlin Clark, the WNBA would fold up in about 2 years. They'd have nothing left. And the only reason it's keeping them alive is the NBA keeps pissing away money on it. Anyway, that seems all irrelevant, really, in this grand scheme of things. But anyway, the Epstein saga continues here now. And, of course, the Democrats now are going to continue to press on the Epstein thing because they want it to be as a distraction for President Donald Trump. They have seized this opportunity. They're smart for doing so because they have nothing. Their party has completely fallen apart. Their approval rating is the lowest it's ever been in history. No one's on board with their messaging. They're placating to like 5% of the American people. The only reason why they had people voting for that Kamala Harris was because they hated President Trump. They came out to vote against Trump. They didn't come out to vote for Harris. They came out to vote against Trump. And once they don't have that anymore, they're going to be finished because their popularity is shot. Right? Tulsi, here, look at what an example it is. Tulsi Gabbard was a United States Congresswoman, a Democrat United States Congresswoman that ran for president as a Democrat. And in the primary, got a couple of 100,000 votes. Kamala Harris got about 400 votes, right? Kamala Harris was one of the least popular candidates that ran in that 2020 election. Tulsi Gabbard at least pulled in like 150,000, or I don't know how many votes she pulled in the primary, over 150,000. And you had Kamala Harris, who couldn't even muster up anything for the primary. She was so unpopular, so unlikable. Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat congresswoman, a Democrat candidate for president, is up there yesterday at the press briefing exposing the Democrat Party for the frauds that they are. People have left. RFK Jr., people have left that party because it doesn't resemble what they believed it used to. So their popularity is shot. They have no candidate for 2028. Zero. They're talking about Jasmine Crockett or AOC. They got nobody there. So of course they're going to use the Epstein thing to distract from the fact that they are losing their base. They don't have a foot to stand on, and they're going to use it to distract from President Donald Trump's wins that he is racking up. We just had these huge trade deals that he did again now with Japan, right? $100 billion in trade deals where they're going to now take our products as well. So he had that. He had a couple other ones. Indonesia, he had a few of them that went down. But the wins keep coming for Trump. They want to distract from that. They don't want to know Trump's approval rating rising amongst the GOP. And they want to distract from that. And, of course, they obviously want to distract and take away as much as they can from the Obamagate. Because you saw CNN yesterday during that press briefing cut away from Tulsi Gabbard as she was talking about it. Because they have to dub over it and put their propaganda. Because they can't have their people listen to actual reality of what Obama was up to. And again, I've said this 100 times. I've been putting it up on Twitter. In their minds, whatever Obama did was justified in their heads. This is what I've been saying. They're going to justify it. They had to do it to save democracy. No matter what they did, even if they had to burn the only available copy of the Constitution, they had to do it to save democracy. That's how touched in the head these people are. So what's the latest with the Epstein thing? Well, the Obama-appointed judge, this girl Rosenberg or Rosen something, she blocks the release of the Epstein testimony files. So they put in this request to unseal these files, and now you have an Obama-appointed judge blocking it so you can't do it. So now there has to be an appeal to this, or they have to figure it out. So it's a stall tactic right now by a Democrat-appointed federal judge that's blocking it. The Wall Street Journal comes out now with this big piece yesterday. Now, the Wall Street Journal, mind you, is getting sued into oblivion, just like the rest of these fake news medias that have had to pay Trump through the nose. The Wall Street Journal comes out with a piece yesterday saying that Pam Bondi told Trump back in May that he's in the Epstein files. That's what the story that they're going with. Of course, it's a source that knows what they're talking about. It's trust me, bro type sources. And so they're saying that this is the big story. They're all running with this. Oh, my God, Trump was in the Epstein files. And nobody thinks that that's odd because President Donald Trump had a relationship where he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for many years. Of course, we would imagine his name is in the files. There is a big difference between his name being in the files and him being on a client list. Okay, and we all know, and the media will never bring this up, you'll never hear them talk about it, that President Donald Trump threw Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago and banned them back in 2005 or 6 or whatever it was, because Epstein was accused of molesting some 15-year-old girl of another member there of Mar-a-Lago. He threw him out. He was disgusted with him. He ended his relationship with him. He cut his ties with him. And that was it. He was done with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the media will never put that part out there. Now, Epstein, of course, you see him at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. He's friends with all these people that are in the know because he's in that scene. He's in that billionaire scene. Now, whether or not this guy was an asset of Israel, if he was an asset of the CIA, if it was a honeypot, blackmail type operation with him and Ghislaine Maxwell, I don't know. All I know is he was in that circle of all these billionaires and millionaires and all that stuff. And they were all acquaintances of Jeffrey Epstein. So the Democrats are going to seize on everything that they can to say, oh, look, these guys were best friends together. They weren't best friends. He's a guy that was in the same club. And the minute that Trump found out who he was, he threw him out and banned him. But they don't mention that. These other guys, these Democrats stuff, they kept going with him. And Trump never went to the island. So anyway, they're going to play that up. The main thing is here, though, is the fact that they have to eat this because they fumbled the ball so hard with the Epstein files. So in a lot of ways, they're getting what's coming to them because of the way that they handled it. And so we're going to need to have some accountability. Now, the House has subpoenaed a bunch of people now to testify, and it looks like all signs are pointing to we are going to get this Ghislaine Maxwell testimony before Congress, which is going to be, it's going to be super viral when that happens. My man Scott Perry, I got to get him back on the show. I think it's been a while since I had him on. Congressman Scott Perry recommended to Chairman Comer. He recommended these subpoenas that are going out to subpoena people for this Ghislaine Maxwell testimony thing. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are on the list to be subpoenaed. Eric Holder, all these other people that are involved in this. So there's a lot of people that are going to be subpoenaed, and we're going to find out, what this Ghislaine Maxwell. Put her on the stand. I'm surprised it takes this long to do it. And we do want to find out what's going on with the Epstein list. There's no question about that. The way that it's been fumbled by Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice has been the biggest black eye on this administration that has produced win after win after win. And it's this one thing that has been a major problem, and they have got to rectify. Once this comes around and everything is solved and finished, and it's like, okay, so we know now Trump had nothing to do with anything, and here's the people that did it, here's some accountability, that all goes away. But it has to happen. Just like there has to be accountability here with the Russiagate. They're swinging big, they got to hit big here. But if they swing big, they can also miss big. And if we don't see accountability, handcuffs, indictments, then it's going to be hell, because there'll be no recovery from this. If they can't get any kind of indictments, any kind of convictions, any kind of arrests, any kind of jail time, this whole thing was a miss, whether it's Epstein or with Russiagate. And I know, Tommy Tuberville, the senator, I had him on Tuesday. He's like, I don't think anyone's going to get arrested, but I want to see them go through the process, answering questions. It's like, well, we don't want to hear that. What do you mean no one's going to get arrested? Somebody's got to get arrested here. If this is a crime, we need results. So we're going to see, what happens here with all this. What's your take on it? Put a comment down below. I wanted a couple other things here. I'll get these guys out of here. Was this thing blew up? It went viral. This William McNeil Jr., black kid driving the car. His video of his cell phone footage of getting punched in the face by the police went viral. And all of your typical race hustlers have jumped on this case to try to make it the new George Floyd, or to make him the new whatever. It's a police brutality. The cops are racist. So you had that Ben Crump putting on a big to-do yesterday, press conference about, this guy, So all we had was that video. Then you see the police body cam, and it's like, okay, now there's another side of this entire story, and it's another one of these things. The police, they pull up. Now, they said they pulled him over because his headlights weren't on, and he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. All right, his headlights weren't on. Obviously, they say it was inclement weather. Wipers on, lights on. So the kid was obviously, it's not raining out. And you see droplets of rain all over the kid's car. But anyway, regardless of that, they say he has no seatbelt on. Now, I've been pulled over before for not having a seatbelt. I don't know about you, but I've been pulled over for that, okay? It's stupid. I've had it happen, all right? So they pull up to this guy, and he opens his door, which already puts the cops on high alert because they're like, why are you opening the door? Oh, his window doesn't work. Okay. So they ask for the license, registration, insurance. He won't give it to them. Why you pull me over? Call the supervisor. He acts like a complete Karen in a supermarket. Where's your supervisor? Where's your supervisor? Where's your supervisor? Right? So right away, the cops are like, what are you talking about? Now they ask for the license registration. The kid closes the door now and locks it. So now it's like you do that. Now the cops are saying, wait, you cannot just go and run and hide when the police are asking you for your license registration when you're pulled over. So now the cop doesn't know what you're doing in the car, and now he's on super high alert. And so they ask him to get out of the car. He won't. He says, now you're under arrest for resisting. And he tells the guy about 40 times in this video, you're under arrest for resisting, get out of the car. It wasn't like they didn't tell him. And he's in there still with his rant, with his selfie. Oh, call your supervisor. Call the supervisor. So they bust the kid's window, bust him up a little bit, and they arrest him. And he now, who had a suspended driver's license, weed in the car, is now the victim in this. So the reason why he wanted a supervisor, the reason why he put up this stink was because he knew his driving license was suspended. He knew he was screwed. So rather than face the responsibility that you're driving a car with no license, he plays the victim. Oh, why are you pulling me over? This is unfair. And it's so tiring to see this stuff. It's like Chris Rock put the video out 10, 20 years ago, how to avoid this stuff. Comply with the police. You know why he didn't want to show him the license? Because it was expired. So, but here's the truth. Like, the best thing to do, and people have learned this now, especially the black community has learned this, that if you have weed in the car, if you have a suspended driver's license, if you have a warrant out for your arrest, the best thing to do is not comply with the police. Because if you don't comply with the police, you have an opportunity for a payday. And that's what this is. That's all a game now. It's a payday. That's what they're looking for. And it's one of these things, too, where it puts the police. Who the hell wants to be a police officer? I'm just saying that with Troy. Who the hell wants to be a cop? And deal with this nonsense. Like, I have to have this conversation with my kids, right? Because my kids in today's America, I got to tell them, listen, you're not the victim. You're never going to be the victim. You're a white, heterosexual, Catholic male. You are the lowest in this society that we have right now. You don't get a chance to be the victim ever. No one's going to ever feel sorry for you. Nothing. You're going to have to work twice as hard to get half as far in your life. You don't get advantages of using your race to advance you like everybody else gets an opportunity to. You don't get extra scholarships. You're not getting any extras because you're, if anything, you're hated on because of it. You're discriminated against because of it. And if something bad happens to you, no one feels sorry for you. That's what it's like to be a white, heterosexual Catholic male in today's America. Right? The odds are against you out there. You never get an opportunity to be the victim. If something happens to you, you deserved it. And if it didn't work that way, why do you think this Zoran Mamdini claimed to be black on his application there for to go to college? Why do you think he did that? You think he did that because he was confused whether or not he was black or not? No, he did it because he knows that by doing that, it helps him. Why do you think Elizabeth Warren checked off that she was an Indian? You think she did it because she's like, she's got 0.03% Indian blood in her. Right? My cat's probably got more Indian blood in it than she does. But she did it because she knows it gives her an advantage. If it didn't, they would put white. If the white was the privilege, they'd be trying to be white and put that on the docket. They don't try to do that, though. Because the advantages in not being white, especially not being a straight white Christian or a Catholic male, you're the underdog now. And so there we go. We had another one of these race hustler incidents that are happening, and we'll see what happens. And this will be another one. No charges were filed against the cops. They're going to sue this police department into oblivion. We'll see some kind of settlement, and that's what it is, another payday. last thing I wanted to hit on here was this polygamy versus monogamy conversation that's going on between like Andrew Tate and Matt Walsh. This thing has kind of caught some steam out there. Everyone's kind of chiming in. And I would love to have somebody on here to kind of have this talk about it. But it's like they're talking about polygamy now as opposed to monogamy. And it's like because Andrew Tate, who lives this lifestyle of like the Dan Bilzerian type guy where he has multiple women. He's a Muslim guy. And in that faith, they have multiple wives and they have kids and all this other stuff. And it's like, should that be the way young men go in this country as opposed to having a monogamous relationship, getting married? And I think that, if you are a multimillionaire, I think that option might be more appealing to you, right? If you're Andrew Tate money, if you have that FU kind of money, maybe that's an option to you because you want to protect all these assets. You don't want to get married because you don't want to forfeit, your fortune. We've seen it with Bill Gates, with Jeff Bezos, these guys that have these divorces. We saw it with Donald Trump back in the day. You have billions of dollars. Divorces, they crush half your empire. Maybe you want to be one of these guys that has a bunch of harems or a bunch of girls in the locker room and they're all just for you. Maybe that seems like it's possible. But for the average working class American, what are we talking about here? You're going to have multiple wives and girlfriends now? People have enough trouble meeting one person. They're going to meet 3-4 women that are going to commit to them to say, yeah. I mean, what are we even discussing this for? How stupid is this conversation? And it's just another one of these things where it's like everybody always feels like something else. They're going to do something that's going to unlock the key, and everything in their life is going to be so much better than it is right now. And they're never going to have to worry about having discomfort in their life. Everything's going to be smooth. If I just do this one thing, maybe it's polygamy. If I just have 3 or 4 girls that'll commit to me, then my life's going to be better. We always constantly fool ourselves into thinking there's something that's going to alleviate struggle from our lives. We look at these people that are on social media and think, man, they're not struggling. And you're being lied to by the phone that you look at and watch all this nonsense. You think Andrew Tate is living without struggle because he's got 14 girls and 25 kids or whatever he's got? Everyone goes through it. There's a struggle in everybody's life. And at the end of it, none of us are going to get out of it alive. So it's like we are duped into thinking like, oh, if I do this, my life will be better. If I do that, my life's going to be better. It'll be like that person's life. We're chasing a phantom with this stuff. Now, yes, marriage is under the gun here because there are many, many problems, particularly facing men right now when it comes to marriage. There's no question about it. The world of equality is not equal at all when it comes to marriage and when it comes to children as far as the court system goes. The divorce court tilted way against men. The family court system tilted way against men. So for a man to go into a relationship is a big risk as far as if this doesn't work out, I'm going to lose half my pension, half my paycheck. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose custody of my children. You have a lot of that. A woman does not go into a relationship thinking, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to lose everything that I got. No, they go into it thinking that if this doesn't work out, I'm going to leave his ass. I'll take everything he's got. So as long as that opportunity is there, there's going to be a problem in the world. But I will tell you this, it's worth it. Just like anything else that's risky in life, just like anything else that's challenging in life, it's worth it. If you can realize that it's not something that you're going to do and then you do it once, you get married, and now your life is going to be great, it's something that you got to work at, like everything else in your life. If you have a house, you got to maintain the house. You got to make the mortgage payments every month, or they take the house away from you, right? If you have a garden, you got to weed the garden. If you don't, the weeds take over the garden. It's the same thing. If you have a job, you got to show up every day. You got to show up 5 days a week. It's the same thing in a marriage. You got to show up every day. You got to put the work in. There's change, development, growth that happens during this whole thing. I'm married now 20 years. This isn't something that I just did once and that was it. I put it in a box and just said it's done now. It's something that I have to continue to work on and develop. And some people, they find that to be a challenge. And it is a challenge. And it's got a great reward when you work at it, like anything else in life. There are problems in our system where there is so much money in divorce. There's so much money in child custody. The family court system should be dismantled completely, and it's something that I would love to see happen. But the future of this country is family, and without it, we're doomed. And we know that, I've harped on it forever, but kids that come from these houses with no father in the home, they are flooding our prison systems. And it's a major, major problem. So polygamy versus monogamy, I don't think there's really even a conversation there. I mean, I think for the average working class person, I don't even, it's either you're going to get married or you're not. You're not going to well, should I get 4 wives or just one? I mean, I don't think that's a legitimate, realistic option. So maybe if you got 2 yachts and 4 mansions and stuff like that, you have a different way of looking at it. So anyway, what's your take on the polygamy monogamy? What's your take on the William McNeil thing? And hit me with a Russiagate comment. What do you think about Epstein? Hit me with some comments down below. Let me know who you'd like to have on the podcast here. Next week, I got my man Roger Stone coming back to the show. I'm going to reach out to a few more people, see what I can do. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I got a Buy Me a Coffee down there in the description below if you guys want to support the show. I hope you'll bring it back here on Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. God bless you parents and you listeners out there. God bless our police, our first responders, our military and veterans. God bless America. And I'll catch you guys next week, Tuesday, back here on Rumble. Have a great weekend.
You're listening to the AlecLace Show. The future is family.